My name is Ed Nardi, Chair of the Natural Resources Commission, and I am calling this public meeting to order at 7 p.m. Get rid of this. In accordance with the Commonwealth of Massachusetts Executive Order of March 12, 2020, suspending certain provisions of the open meeting law, we are conducting this meeting virtually. To ensure public access to the deliberations of the meeting, the public may access this call through video conferencing or telephone. Following the presentation by the petitioner and questions from the commission, members of the public will have the opportunity to ask questions and provide public comment. Please identify yourself with name and address for the record. You can also raise your hand from your phone by dialing *9. All video screens will be turned off with the exception of the commissioners, Delia, and the current petitioner. Once the commission has acted on an application, the petitioner is free to leave the meeting. Screen sharing will not be permitted unless absolutely necessary, and all votes will be taken by roll call vote. In the all matters on the agenda that have not been heard will be automatically continued to the February 3rd, 2020 NRC meeting. This meeting is being recorded and can be viewed on the Minuteman Media website. If anyone is recording the meeting, I ask that you so inform the commission. At this time, I would ask the commissioners to introduce themselves. Greg?
Greg Higgins.
Nick?
Nick Pappas.
Judy?
Judy Zonbrecker.
And Sarah?
Sarah Grimwood.
Great, thank you guys. First order of business, we've got 2 meeting minutes to approve, November 18th and December 2nd. I had 1 comment on the November 18th minutes that I had sent along to Karen already. Anybody else?
Yes, I sent some comments along to Karen also on the November 18th and also on the December 2nd minutes.
And I did find some typos that I will send in, but I do have a comment that I want to mention. This is the November 18th minutes on page 8. There's a statement, we were talking about how, and this is for...
Which paragraph, Sarah?
This is 62 Wood Street, page 8, the top paragraph.
Okay.
The discussion was that at this address there had been a number of different measurements of where the 50 foot, 25 foot, etc. was. And there's a statement written, Commissioner Grimwood asked if there were many projects like this that the NRC should be worried about. Now, my question was about the fact that there were lots of differences in the fact that the measurements, but the way it's written sounds like I'm questioning the project. And does that make sense? So I just wondered if that could be reworded slightly, please. And I'll send in the other minor typos and things that I found.
Yep. So we could say something along the lines of, I think what you were trying to ask was whether or not there were projects that the GIS boundary differed, so that it made these issues, these kinds of projects a concern.
Yeah, because I think in this case there are maybe 3 different measurements and they're all different over different times. Or yeah.
Okay. Yes, we can revise that.
Thank you, Delia. Thank you.
Okay, and any comments, Nick, on the meeting minutes?
No, I sent in a couple on the 18th.
Oh, great. Okay. Could we have a motion for the minutes?
I move to accept the minutes of November 18th and December 2nd as amended.
I second it.
Okay, and a vote. Greg?
Aye.
Nick?
Aye.
Judy?
Aye.
And Sarah?
Aye.
And I'm an aye as well. Okay, next order of business, director's update.
So just very briefly, I mentioned at the last meeting that we have the land manager posted. We have so far 29 applications in already. The deadline is this Friday. We have some very strong applicants. So we're quite pleased with that. We'll start interviewing hopefully next week. and have somebody on board in the next month to 6 weeks. You may have noticed that there's a lot of parking at Punk. We have received a number of comments, calls, emails about the extensive parking up. Plus, one weekend there were over 30 cars that were parked there. The traffic safety group met and they're going to post no parking along Monument Street on the opposite side of the road from where you are supposed to park, as well as areas that legal parking spaces. So there have been cars that have been ticketed. We're receiving some complaints about that, but nobody should be parking illegally. Access to Punk has not changed. It's just that, with COVID, there's just been a lot more pressure on parking everywhere. And in particular, we're seeing it at Punkatassett. So, I don't know if the commission is interested in revisiting the parking that was evaluated a couple of years ago that was not really favored by the neighbors, and the former public works director decided to just change the street side parking to accommodate better parking there. But in any event, it is, an ongoing issue, but it's being addressed by enforcing the parking restrictions that are in place and will be, further clarified.
Celia, how many legal parking spots are there?
It's either 7 or 9.
Yeah, that's what I recall. Something like 6, 7.
Yeah.
But it
What
is
was
clear
that?
when you, I'm sorry, Judy, go ahead.
I'm sorry. I was just going to ask, I was trying to remember the proposal that we had brought forward. How many spots did that include?
12.
I'm sorry. So that would be 8 to 9 also, or
So the proposal that had been contemplated by the commission would have eliminated the street side parking and would have put a new parking area up at the trailhead. And so it would have been 12 parking spaces total.
Oh, okay, great. Thank you.
And that was rejected by the Public Works, or what?
Wasn't there some utility work to do there to make those space accommodations, or some heavier, coordination?
The initial hope was that the trustees of reservations would allow those 12 spaces to be in the front lots, adjacent to the street. And they, for a number of reasons that didn't work out. So the commission looked at placing parking behind at the trailhead, and it was really not favored by the neighbors.
Yeah.
The public works director, the former public works director, then said that he worked out something with the neighbors and the select board to accommodate parking in the existing location by moving a stone wall, and the utilities weren't moved, but there was some accommodation made to move cars further off Monument Street than they had been. But it's a perennial problem. It's been
And just so everyone remember that our jurisdiction is the lane and the parking that was in off, whereas the parking out on the street was the select board.
right.
The select board that I think wanted to sort of see if we could go with some kind of status quo, if I remember a little bit. So we couldn't do parking out on the street if we recommended it. We have no authority there. So our only avenue, so everybody knows, was to do something on the property that we do have responsibility for. Whether that's the right place or not, we can still argue, but that's the only choice we had, was to use our own land. So
Right.
people could have been upset at it, but we had no choice.
Right.
And how did that come about? Was it because people were asking for more parking?
So it came about as part of the 2016 Estabrook Woods
Oh,
Study Committee. They looked at all the access points to Estabrook Woods.
okay,
They made recommendations.
okay.
of the recommendations was that the existing parking at Punkatasset be looked at, evaluated, and, you know, made better. So that
Right, right.
sort of came about.
And there were a couple of spots out on the street because neighbors had changed their driveways a little bit that affected it as well. I think we lost a space or two
Yeah.
due to that, but that
That's
wasn't a major problem.
Do you think it's possible to approach the trustees again? Has anything changed that might make that an option?
So I think I probably last approached them about a year ago.
Okay.
I don't think that anything has changed, but I'm happy to reach out again and
Mhm.
the request, because
Okay.
I continue to believe that the best spot for the parking is in that field in front of the Apthorpe House.
Yeah.
So I'll make a note to do that.
That'd be great. Thank
Yeah.
you.
The other thing that, let's see. Really just one other thing. So you may know that the town is moving towards an e-permitting strategy, and some of the building permits are now able to be applied for online. We're looking forward to this in natural resources. And as part of this, we're looking at the checklists that we maintain for notice of intent applications and all of the wetlands permit applications. Ed and I and Colleen were talking about this 2 weeks ago, about what this might mean for the commission. Right now, you get half-size plans and narratives of applications. We've moved since COVID to putting our all of our permits, everything that's submitted by applicants is online. And so we thought that it might be beneficial. Ed was complaining, as commissioners have in the past, about the small size of these half-size plans.
Yeah.
So, and I'm sorry, not complaining, but just commenting.
Observation.
Right. So perhaps, you know, a better solution would be for the commissioner, for rather than having half-size plans submitted, perhaps it would be better if everybody had a full-size plan. And you know, we sort of went down to this half-size because of all the wasted paper that was being generated by all the commission getting the, you know, 7 full-size copies and 7 full applications. So something to think about is whether or not you would be comfortable receiving full-size plans and then just reviewing narratives online. Because if you have the full-size plan, at least you can see everything that's going on without a magnifying glass.
I'd be happy to have even the plan in electronic form. I happen to have 2 monitors here when I'm working, so when I'm in the meeting, so I can look at it on one screen. It'd be much better for me.
Yeah, I agree with Nick, and I think it's also 21st century that eventually we're going to have to go electronic anyways. And it seems to me if the plans could be sent in such a capacity that we could put them up on the screen and enlarge them on ourselves,
Right.
that's far better than getting these little things I get now. And I kind of, is it a B or an 8 or is it a 3? You know, so if I can enlarge it, I think as much as I'm very familiar and like big scale plans, I just can't justify saying that I would want it full size if I could get it electronically where I can enlarge it.
Yeah, I agree with Greg and Ed and Nick.
I would ask though that if it's sent electronically, could it be posted in a file somewhere so they're all in one place? Because when you get everything by email in different emails, it's really hard to keep track of what belongs to what. So if there's a way of setting up an area of folders so all the relevant information is in one place, that would be extremely helpful.
So it's sort of kind of a case by case file.
Yes.
So you got the
Yeah.
plan, you got the application, you got the
It's
All in one
narrative.
packet, right?
Yeah, because that's what
Yeah.
I do with all the papers.
Sure.
But
Mhm.
if it was all in separate emails, it would be really hard to keep track.
Yeah, what the CPC does is that they post it and they have it as, because it's public information. You would go into that meeting and it has current meeting materials. And so that could be one way of doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
we do that now for the public.
Yeah.
And we can just keep sending this link.
Mm-hmm.
It's, you know,
Oh,
everything that is,
forgive me, I didn't even know this existed.
we probably haven't, mentioned it. I think
Okay, this is
COVID.
what I was looking for. Thank you.
Yeah, yeah. So we can just send this link out.
Okay, great.
I apologize if we did not make this, more clear, but everything that we have
Oh, yeah, fantastic. Okay.
on every application that is under review by the commission has been posted. Karen does
I
that.
didn't know that either.
Yeah, no,
Okay, great.
The one thing I would ask is if there was a way to differentiate the list in terms of what is new material
yes,
and what is stuff that has been modified. Because
Mhm.
when I go in there, I have to start looking and say, oh, wait a minute, this is old. I gotta
you've
look at.
seen it.
Yeah.
So it would be
So-
like, what's gonna come up on this evening? That's what
Right.
gets maybe jacketed or put in a different color. And everything that's in red is current, the most current.
So
Absolutely.
I'll work with Karen to develop a file structure that basically has the, name, the address, the name of the plan or narrative or whatever it is, and then the date.
Yeah, the date,
That'd be
the
great.
vision date would be great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the name.
Yeah. So we'll make that a little bit more consistent.
Yeah, that'd be great. Just, such a shame to get all the paper and there's
Yeah.
primary documents and there's secondary documents and we're recycling like that.
Well,
and
then you have to
folks,
hold on to the ones that haven't closed and.
Exactly.
Track of them.
Right. Yeah, okay, good. So just so I'm clear, we're ready to go for the commission to be all electronic.
Yes.
Seems like that's the sense of the commission, Delia.
Please.
That'd be great.
Yeah.
Great. Fabulous.
Yeah.
Congratulations. That's awesome. Okay, that's me. Thanks, Ed.
Great. Thank you. Okay. Up next, we've got, I believe it's 2 continuances, Middlesex School and 144 Upland. I think through to February 3rd. Could I have a motion for those?
I move to,
Go ahead, Judy.
I move to continue to February 3rd, 2021 without discussion. Notice of intent for Middlesex School, DEP file 1371545, and notice of intent, Babcock and Carlisle, 144 Upland Road, DEP file 1371552.
Second.
1522.
Yep, 1522.
Yeah.
Okay, let's take the vote. Nick,
Aye.
Sarah,
Aye.
Greg,
Aye.
and Judy.
Aye.
And I am an aye as well. All right, so first hearing of the evening is a continuance. 43 Old Bedford Road, DEP file number 137-1504. And I believe, Matt, you're here to discuss that with us this evening?
Yes, sir. Good evening, everybody. Matt Morrow representing Harold and Susan Shaw, 43 Old Bedford Road. When we last left off, the commission asked me to try to work out different scenarios with my client or to flesh out the waiver request that I had previously submitted. And I've gone over this issue a multitude of times with my clients. And essentially the proposal, what you see in front of you is what they want to go with. So I submitted an addendum to the original alternatives analysis or the waiver request, which goes into an alternatives analysis. The basics as far as why they wanted the garage in the first place was because this particular property has been in my client's family. It's been in Harold's family for multiple generations. He got the property from his parents, and they're getting advanced in years, and the existing gravel driveway that has been there has a tendency to ice up very rapidly. So I looked at different scenarios to address the icing. If they didn't build a garage, they would have to basically regrade the driveway to allow water to shed off going into the seasonal brook that directly abuts the driveway and the bordering wetland that's there. That's something I felt that even with a bioswale really wasn't a preferred alternative considering how close to the wetland it is already. The second scenario that I considered was a detached garage. The only area that a detached garage could go would be in the yard space that's in the front of the house, which is actually more of an uphill area. Everything slopes up. The amount of earthwork and the amount of extra work that would be involved in establishing a 4-foot frost wall would actually wind up resulting in more modifications to the driveway and more earthwork than what the proposal that we have in front of you is now. I mean, I hope you guys have at least gotten the summary that I've sent out.
Yes, we have.
At a time.
Yeah, no, I think we have, Matt, I think we do understand the situation with the proponent and the safety factors. And, I'm not sure I buy all the arguments and the alternatives in terms of the water line, and, certainly understand it's an additional cost if that were to happen. So, and I think we appreciate the safety issues as well. Delia, did you talk out the so-called potential solution with Matt a little bit in terms of some trading off of area?
I did. I mentioned what I had written up in the thumbnail.
Right.
Matt, you and I talked last week about the possibility of rather, understanding the client's concerns about, I'm just trying to get to a share screen here. Understanding that the client is looking to put something in this location, which is in the commission's 50-foot no build zone. Taking this area here, which is here's the 25-foot roughly, taking some of this area out, restoring it, that would be a good compromise to allowing this addition in this location here. This is estimate, the 50-foot actually extends more in this location. So Matt, you were going to get back to me yesterday and let me know what your clients had said. You were going to talk with them over the weekend, you had said. So what was the...
Yes, I've spoken with them about that scenario, and I've spoken with them about other potential alternatives as recently. We've been on and off the phone for the last few days, as recently as an hour ago. And essentially, they're just not agreeing to any other alternatives. I've given them the alternative that you proposed. There was another adjacent area I spoke about adding maybe potential green space to. They feel that the plantings that they've submitted with the 10-to-1 and the 1-to-1 added together, they feel they're meeting the requirements, and they're not agreeing to it.
So
I've spoken with them about it, and they just said no.
May I ask a question about the size of the garage? I know in alternative 2, which was reducing the garage size, it was cited that storage was needed for materials accessory to the vehicles and things such as a snow blower, shovels, and other materials that would have to be used to clear the entrance to the garage. Do they have those items now? And if they do, where are they stored?
Some of them are stored in the lower shed in the area that we had examined for removal.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them are stored in the larger shed. Materials that they're looking to access, they would take the wintertime materials out. There's also summertime materials, lawnmowers, and yard equipment that he keeps in those sheds. One of the biggest reasons why he didn't want to remove any of the structures down in the back was because he needs them for extra yard material storage as far as his equipment goes. And actually one of them, his father built.
Mhm.
And he just doesn't feel right taking something down that is in solid shape that his dad built. I mean,
Would he consider maintaining those where he stores all those materials and reducing the size of the garage so he doesn't need to store them in the garage?
I've asked them about the reduction of the size of the garage, and I was still told no.
What,
You know, it's kind of
So they-
problematic, quite frankly, in my opinion,
Yeah.
to just not consider things.
if I might, Matt, what is did you get an estimate as to what the expense of moving the water line behind, which would be behind the proposed garage? Do we have a number on that so we have some scope of what that is all about?
Well, to replace a water line in place would be about $5,000 to replace that particular water line, just to replace it. To move it, you're adding an additional $10,000 to the job. And that's based on professional contractors that I got different estimates on, and the potential problems that the wellhead could undergo in trying to relocate that line.
Wow.
Matt, just Delia, could that plan again, the proposed with the garage on it? I guess just respectfully, when I hear a number of $10,000 to move a water line, it's got to be, again, just looking at the plan, I don't know if it's 50 feet of water line. What are we talking about? A 1-inch water line?
It's a 1-inch water line wrapped in a 3-inch sleeve.
Yeah. And it looks like it's traveling 30 feet, 35 feet.
Mhm.
It's hard for me to leave, again, just knowing a little bit about the business, but $300 a linear foot to relocate that water line. And you could still, enter into the side of the house, maybe not on that corner, but just the abutting corner at the patio. But it just seems like that's a very significant cost for that exercise. I don't profess to be a site work guy, but again, just an observation. It seems like that's a high number.
I thought so too. I went to a few different contractors, and I don't know if it's because they're all busy, so they're high pricing everything. I can't explain it.
Yeah, but I assume the contractor that would build the garage he's going to have equipment out there, digging frost walls and foundations, and why he's there with a little bobcat, he could dig a trench and have a site work guy come in or a plumber come in and replace the line. But not here to argue that. I think that's just the point of the discussion. But more so the sense of the reluctance to kind of work with the committee. I think Delia's created a kind of a creative solution in terms of some trade-off for some some more in the 25 foot. And dropping the mitigation. I think it was proposed to be a 5-to-1 mitigation because the 25 foot is more deer than the 50 foot.
Actually, it's a 10-to-1.
Yeah. So again, trying to, I think do our level best to try to accommodate your client's wishes, but it's trying to look for a little give and take in terms of trying to accomplish our goals and meet our regs.
Nope.
And so
understand.
Ed, Matt and I did not get to that point of talking about the ratio.
Okay.
We had a conversation about this as a potential. Bring
Okay.
client and have that conversation and come back, and you were going to call me yesterday, and so you hadn't had that finalized at that point, so we did not get that far. However, I would just say at this point, Matt, I mean, if the client is not willing to go make any concessions and come towards the commission's, it's a 50-foot no build policy. It is high hurdle. If you're looking to, it seems to be that, the commission has tried to work with you to come to some way of resolution, but, not having any give and take on this, I think that this is moving towards a denial. So just to, make that clear what that means, there's the Wetlands Protection Act, that is appeal to DEP. And then there's the wetlands bylaw, and that's appeal to Superior Court. So, this is turning into something that is a long and protracted process for something that I think is a pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
The this for a year, albeit very, sporadically, because we haven't had much. We've had 4 different submittals since last February. But I would say that, it's really time to just try to get to some sort of resolution here. The commission is trying to work with you. And I say you, and, your client's not here, so we can't have this conversation directly with them, but, we're trying to get you to the point where your client has the structure that they're looking for.
I'm not disagreeing
A
with
little
you.
bit of give and take on this.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's what I would propose. There's been a lot of give and take, and again, my clients, and they know how to use a cell phone, but computers just aren't their thing as far as participating in these types of meetings. Is there any way that maybe Delia, you, myself, or someone from your office, maybe if we met with my clients on site and went over different scenarios as far as trying to work this out, I think that would be more productive than from us talking on the phone, me going back to my clients, trying to describe something to them, or even showing them what you, I think if we got together and spoke on site, we might have some more give and take.
I'd be happy to do that.
Because
Good suggestion, Matt.
it's not like I haven't asked them. And after I went through your proposal, I went through other different scenarios that might have wound up being palatable to both parties as well. And I think honestly, if we were on site, I think maybe a lot of they have certain thoughts, we have certain thoughts. Again, I think if we met on site, that might be a breakthrough for all of us.
Yep, I'm happy to do that.
Great. Nick? You're on mute, I think, Nick.
Matt, do they understand the implications of a denial?
Yes.
Okay.
And Matt, that would, I think that's a good suggestion. Thank you, Delia, for making the time. And again, just in front of the committee, the primary issue was safety and cover and adjacency to the house. And I think we're doing our level best to drive that. But to Judy's point, now it looks like the garage wants to be a certain size to not only accommodate the cars, but store additional equipment that's being stored somewhere else. So again, we hear you, we respect the safety factor, want to work with you, but again, that give and take is really essential to kind of hopefully getting this over the finish line with not too much fuss.
Well, again, sometimes I think eyeball to eyeball, mask to mask, as they say nowadays.
Yeah.
Might be a big help.
Okay. So
And just for the record, Delia has always made the time to talk to me, and I
Yeah.
appreciate it, Delia, very much.
Okay, Matt. So we're good with continuing this out.
Yeah, we'll do it for 2 weeks. I mean, Delia and I should be able to get together with them within a
I
couple
don't
of
know what your schedule is, Delia, by
You'd have
end of the
to,
week.
you'd have
So
to
I
have
would-
everything in by Friday.
Yeah.
Right. If there are any changes that are going to be made, they have to be in by Friday to be on the February 3rd agenda. So I would say,
yes. Okay, so why don't we do the 17th then?
okay.
Very good. Thank you, Matt.
And Matt, I'll call you tomorrow, or give me a call in the morning and we can figure out a time to meet on site with your clients.
Absolutely.
Okay, very good.
Thank you.
And one more quick commentary before I take off. I think I've mentioned this to you guys before. I'm the agent over in Lunenburg, and we use permitting software. It's excellent. The potentials that Delia outlined are excellent. I think you guys will really, really like it. I know I do. So good luck with it. I hope it
Yeah.
works for you.
Thank you, Matt.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on to notice of intent, 160 Range Road, DEP file number 137-1551. And who's, oh, I think it's Molly, right? Hey, Molly.
Yes. Hello, everyone. For the record, Molly Obendorf with Stamsky McNary. I'm representing the applicant, Alex DeFreitas, and the homeowner, Chris Winkleman. We met with the commission 2 weeks ago at the last meeting and discussed some revisions to the plan. Those revisions consist of adding an area of mitigation to offset the increase in impervious area, 1-to-1 ratio. So we have proposed, it's the shaded area that you see on the site there. It's some existing lawn, partially within the 25-foot, and then some of what's being disturbed for the proposed work, which will be seeded with a conservation seed mix. And then Colleen did send some additional comments on Friday, one of which was to, let's see, specify the soil preparation techniques for the mitigation area. So that will be provided on the revised plan. And additionally, it was requested that a fence detail be provided for both the metal and wood fences proposed. Those have been provided. And the type and size of proposed native trees should be on the plan. There was a note added to this revised plan here. Colleen requested that a list of the species be provided on the plan to break it out by zone. So that will be provided on the revised plan as well. On this plan, we provided some notes off in the bottom left-hand corner about which trees would be ground down to the surface, which stumps would be removed completely, and which stumps would be left. And it was requested that a, let's see, what was the wording here? That it be more clear on the plan, providing different symbols for the trees. So that will be provided on the revised plan as well. That will be in the legend or something. We'll figure it out. We'll provide some symbols where it's clear on the plan which stumps are being completely removed, which stumps are being ground, and which stumps are remaining. And then there was, let's see. Oh, in question at the last meeting was, why is the 18-inch pine and 12-inch maple seemingly kind of off down at an elevation that wouldn't disrupt the solar panels? I went back and talked to the homeowner who consulted on that and has decided that keeping those trees wouldn't significantly impact the shade over the solar panels. So those trees will now remain. And to sum everything up, there's a couple more comments from Colleen to include the existing and proposed tree line. Those will be included on the revised plan, and provide a detail for the patio treatment. The trench drain there will provide a detail for that. And then lastly, this was mentioned previously, and the homeowner did agree to do this. It just wasn't mentioned at the last meeting, but there was some fence debris in the wetland that needs to be removed. So that will be added as a note on the plan. And I think I covered everything, but if the commission has any additional questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Yeah, I think you caught just about everything. I guess one question, Molly, was the question of the seed mix versus native plantings.
I think just homeowner preference to have kind of like a meadow kind of look with flowers, stuff that would be undisturbed. I think that was just the homeowner's preference.
So it will be left in a, more or less an undisturbed state with a cutting or two in the season. It's not going to be mown down like grass.
Absolutely, it's not going to be mowed, and I can provide a note on the plan that specifies not to be mowed.
Okay. Any of the commissioners have any other commentary? I think the only thing that I caught in terms of what's left on the list is just closing out some outstanding permits. I think there are 2 to be closed out.
I remember when, in terms of where the meadow's going in, did we discuss, or do we think it would be helpful to have some pheno markers there? So that in the future, future homeowners know not to mow that on a regular basis?
Makes sense to me.
Okay.
Well,
Yeah.
They'd be acceptable of that?
I think that's doable. Yeah, put some pheno markers, outside the area that's being restored, and to specify it not being mowed.
Okay. Any of the other commissioners have any comments on this? Okay. Anyone in the public have any comments on this application?
Ed, can I just make a comment on this?
Please, please, please.
So I'm just going to go back to, there's this area here that is at the base of the infiltration trench. And
Is there a retaining wall there now,
Here.
Julia?
there's a retaining wall here.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
That was actually added in this last
Yeah.
revision. The homeowner opted to
Oh,
add that, which also minimizes disturbance within the.
yeah,
buffer.
Yeah,
okay. Well, that, I didn't realize that.
So, there's, I don't know why it's not showing up now, but this is one area of proposed meadow seeding.
mm-hmm.
And the second one is in through here. It's out, as you can see, it was hatched before, but I'm not sure why it's not showing up. But anyway, it's this area. I'm skeptical that you're going to have actual meaningful meadow in this area. And, this is the existing tree line here. That's all going to be cleared for the pool and the patio and, the slope and everything else. And I think that, an appropriate mitigation strategy would be to take what this, cleared area would be, and at least at a minimum, put that back to a shrub condition, because it's wooded right now with some sort of an understory. There's minimal trees over 6 inches, but if the homeowner is, has a preference of just having this area be, it's not really a meadow area in here. I think it's more appropriate that it's replanted with shrubs. I mean, if you calc out these areas, I think it's about 50 shrubs. I don't think it's any big deal, but that's my recommendation. I don't think it's appropriate to have these areas restored to meadow when it's taking a wooded area and putting them into an open condition that's may or may not survive just based on the condition that it's in.
I can mention that to the homeowner and have that discussion with him.
That would be good. Thank you. All right. And Molly, so you're good continuing out to make the revisions to the plans and?
Yeah, I think so.
Homeowner?
Yeah, let's
Good for the-
plan for February 3rd. And then if we need more time, specifically for the shrubs, we'll continue out a little further.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
Thank you all.
All right. So now, new application, 296 Bedford Street, not a DEP file number, I don't believe, 137 blank. Asking this evening.
Hi, my name's Josh Burgle. I live at 39 East Circle in Concord, so I'm a neighbor, resident.
Hey,
I'm representing, great, thanks. Nice to present to you guys. I'm a landscape architect and been working with Joe Gwynn, who's the homeowner at 296 Bedford. I believe he's brought projects to you before, and he asked me to help represent him on these two projects combined into one application. Just briefly, there's two primary projects. One is the demolition of an old barn slab in the, thank you, Delia. And then replacing that with decking and a bar and a pool, a very small pool, because it's not a very big foundation. That's all outside of the 50-foot no build zone, but right on the edge. Construction access to it is along that checked area, which goes into the 25-foot. That is negotiable. They don't really care too much. I proposed that location because it's the flattest and would probably be the least amount of erosion, but obviously it goes over the line, so that could be an issue. And so if that needs to move, that's not a big deal. Important to the pool is a sort of a balancing pipe, if you will. It's an under drain that comes out of the pool and would not cross the 50-foot buffer. You can see that dashed line that Delia pulled up there at the bottom left of the screen. It's just off the screen right now. Yeah, there it is. So to match this drawing to the other drawing, you can look at the end of that stone wall. That's the same stone wall. And it just needs to come out to that contour line. And it's not meant to be a drain pipe. It's not connected to the pool at all. It's just an under drain, just to make sure that when the pool goes in, it's a precast concrete pool so that it doesn't float with groundwater. And then utilities going from the upper corner of the old foundation up to the house. They need a gas and an electric line to connect for services. So that's, it's all staying within the existing footprint. There's no new impervious added. In fact, it'll be a more pervious material at the end of the day with sand set bluestone pavers or decking over crushed stone. So it's a better solution. Right now, it's just an old concrete foundation with a slab that they can't use. The second project is up there at the top of the hill, connected to their existing dwelling. It is a one-story sort of shed roof annex to the building on a foundation that is, I'm not entirely sure what the existing foundation is, but it's not able to support the proposed work, which is a two-story annex on the same footprint on a new foundation. So in the exact same footprint of what's there now. The second story, if you look at the architectural drawings, the second story does cantilever out over,
Sorry. I don't have those, I'm sorry.
you didn't have, oh,
Sorry,
okay.
I don't have the
Anyway,
architect-
it cantilevers out over the side yard there about 3 feet, 2.5, 3 feet. And then it cantilevers over the deck that's marked there as well. So it's a very, very small footprint. They are not enlarging the existing foundation at all. And as you can see, most of it's outside in their very tiny outside 100-foot buffer, in that pentagon shaped space. So I did get some comment from Colleen. Thank you for those. The first comment is provide a waiver request for work within the 25-foot no disturb zone and provide restoration measures for temporary disturbance. So like I said, that's negotiable. If you don't like that location, we can move it up the hill. The contractor would just be on a side hill coming from the driveway there. So potentially more disturbance, but again, outside the 50-foot zone. And then the restoration measure would be to rake it and seed it. It's currently lawn now, and it would remain the same in the future. Comment 2, include a planting list specifying species. And the proposal is to put sedge plantings or native plantings around the foundation. I didn't get to that level of detail yet, but they would be native and appropriate for the site. So it may be sedge, it may be winterberry, it may be something on your list, and I would be able to convince the homeowner to do whatever you guys requested for that. So that's no problem. Reconcile both plans to show proposed underground electric, water, and gas utilities. So again, there's more detail in this enlarged plan. I can add that to the overall site plan, no problem. Provide a cut sheet of proposed lighting. So you can see in this plan, there's some little symbols that look like whiskers or mustaches, if you will, that indicate step lights. So like low hooded pointing down lights is the intention, just for safety and because there are steps. So that's no problem. I can provide those cut sheets. And then the second comment is, do you really need so many? And the answer is probably not. We can reduce them just to have an appropriate amount of light. Again, the intention is safety. And you know, if somebody's walking out there at night, they don't trip over something and hurt themselves. And then the last comment is show an erosion control detail on the plan. And that's no problem. I can do that. They are under schedule pressure, even though it's winter, they want to get going. They've ordered the pool. It's already constructed, and they're hoping for an early February install for that pool, despite the weather. The contractor thinks that they can do it. On the beneficial side of that is that the ground is frozen for site access, so it's a lot less disturbance. It won't be so muddy and cause erosion into the resource area. Happy to take any questions.
Thanks, Josh. I just had one question on the under drain. So is that's for like hydrostatic pressure?
Yeah.
As to the pool, and do you know where the water, the groundwater level is there in relationship to the pool level? So my question is, would that pump be going fairly actively in terms of displacing that groundwater for the hydrostatic relief, or is it just there as a safety measure and that groundwater is 2 or 3 feet below the bottom of the pool or wherever the pump location is?
Sure. If you could go back to the plan, Delia. Sorry.
No worries.
It's a passive system, so there's no pumping for it to answer that question. And I don't, to be honest, know where the groundwater level is, but it's the nearest water that's on the site is several feet downslope from there. So
Should be an issue.
It's not an issue.
This is just a precaution that's very unlikely to be needed. Isn't that what you're doing here?
I was surprised the pool company required it.
Almost overkill, but probably the warranty probably is requiring it.
That's exactly what it is.
Yes,
I think
sir.
it's overkill.
Go ahead, sir.
Gravity drain should want to get there, like if it would
That's right.
transient water in the spring when the snow melts or something.
Correct.
So I just had a question about the access road. It sounds as though what you've proposed, even though it's in the 25-foot area, is the least disruptive, you said. But is it just flat? Is it like a flat? Will anything change? Are there shrubs that are going to have to get ruined, or is it just flat dirt and it's going to be frozen anyway? I'm just trying to visualize, what that looks like.
Sure. Today it's just a lawn between, and I think it was an old access drive along the downhill slope of that stone wall that's existing, and up slope of the wall is all sloped. So that's why I was thinking that this was the better approach.
Okay. So nothing. So potentially just a flattening, but it's all frozen anyway, so no real damage.
So Judy,
Correct.
I think it was the old access. I think it was the access to the old barn.
Yep.
Oh, okay.
Oh, there
Okay.
you go.
That makes sense to me then.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, if you look at the grades, it's 129, 130, but basically 129 all the way in. So that does sound like the most prudent place.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's fine, but it's because there's work in the 25-foot, even though it's, there just needs to be a waiver that's
Right. Got it.
Sure. No problem. I'll submit that tomorrow.
great.
Good. Any other questions from the commissioners on this?
And I guess when Delia was showing the one drawing, the brick walkway from the house to the pool bar area, that's going to remain there. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Thanks,
You're
Judy. Do we have any public comment on this application? No? Okay. Hearing none, I guess, are you, Josh, when would you like to continue this out to? Do you think you can get the answers and the revisions in by Friday, or would you like to continue out to?
I can get them in by Friday.
Can you? Okay,
Yep, the owner is motivated to get this done. So,
sounds good. Thank you. So we'll continue it until then.
It needs
Okay.
a number also, so
Oh, yeah.
I don't know how DEP is doing on getting numbers, Delia.
They've actually stepped them up. So
Okay,
this was not listed on DEP's website as of yesterday. Sure that you've submitted to them, and because we can't, the commission can't issue without a file number.
okay, no problem.
Thank you, Josh.
Thank you.
All right, next up is a minor modification to.
Sorry, Ed, 1 second. I just see that Ned Perry is, has his camera on. Ned, did you say something?
Hi, Ned.
Hi, good evening. I know that Greg Higgins is pretty well aware of this area that this is proposed in, having built our house across the marsh. And I think the wetlands issues are perhaps understated in the proposal, but if you all are satisfied that there won't be an impact on the wetlands, that's fine. That's up to your call. As you know, the town land is on one of the boundaries, and there's a fair amount of good public access along the paths, which I'm the trail steward for. And you should just, I'm sure the owner is aware of the public passing by. And I don't know what fencing might be appropriate or might not be appropriate. But I guess I'm mostly concerned about the wetlands and the impact this has on the Moores Marsh and Moores Swamp, so-called. If you're going on the 2017 wetlands lines, then I guess that's all up to you. Those are my concerns, and thank you for recognizing me, Ed. I would like to have some comments at the end of the evening relative to the Nishotic Estabrook Woods Monument Street parking, but I'll reserve those because they're not on queue here. Thank you.
Thank you, Ned. Okay. Josh, I guess we'll continue out until the next hearing.
Thank you.
Thank
So
you.
just to, Ed, just to give it the date certain of February.
3rd.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I'll see you then. Thank
Yep.
you.
All right, minor modification, 141 Comerford Road. And who?
Hello, Commissioners. My name is John Jamesopoulos, representing Michelle Palumbo of 141 Comerford Road.
Evening, John.
Evening. So the minor modification, we've had two slight improvements, we believe. One is the addition of a siltation barrier, straw wattle, closer to the temporary disturbance area. So we've added that. And let me orient you to this. We've got a blue line there, and we've got a green line. The green line represents an additional straw wattle that was not part of the initial plan at the base of the temporary disturbance area. And that borders a temporary disturbance area and mitigation area 1. Mitigation area 1 is a dense mat of Pachysandra, that will be mechanically removed, just to refresh the commissioner's memory on the particulars here. We were also suggested in the originally approved plans, you see the dark dotted line that borders right at the base of some steep terrain right above the wetlands. It was suggested by our erosion specialist, Art Allen, and he's also the botanist that will be using the wetland scientist, that having it in less steep grade, and this is the approved siltation fence with that's on the plan now, would be a better option to prevent anything from getting down into the wetlands with the steepness of the grade that is between the blue line and the black line. And we've also made the modification that everything below the blue line to the wetlands would be hand removal of invasive species, consistent with what's in the mitigation plan for mitigation area 2. So we've expanded the hand removal aspects to kind of accommodate this and improve upon the protection of the wetlands. So that's the first part of what we're asking for minor modifications for. The second portion, as we've put the tree removal out to bid, we've gotten a lot of feedback from a forester, several tree removal companies of some pine trees, the 2 red circles with the purple radiuses of where they may fall and impact the dwelling, that are of concern. We had our wetland scientist, who had been a forester up until a few years back, I don't remember exactly, Arthur Allen, and he prepared a report that was submitted to the commission on the likelihood that these trees would cause devastating damage if they were to fall. And it is with reluctance that the homeowner has agreed to propose the removal of these trees. One of the reasons they had loved the site was the forested nature of it. The first tree is a 22-inch pine and the other is a 36-inch pine. There is some bifurcations of the crowns of these trees. They are on some slopes that do present a hazard of falling towards the house. And while we're having the tree crew here, it made sense to ask for this modification to remove them. We are proposing a 1-to-1 mitigation with replanting pine trees. We're proposing that over in the lawn area of mitigation area 3, because we think that's a better place to put them, where they won't necessarily become a hazard when they do grow up. I don't think I've missed anything else from what we've been asking for, and would like your comments.
Thank you. Well, hazards are hazards. Certainly don't want to, be at have that happen to the house or a homeowner. So, and appreciate you having a fair amount of people look at that condition as well.
Yeah,
opinion.
We've also, in a discussion with Delia, the 36-inch pine being farther from the house, we, in discussions with the homeowner, they're comfortable leaving that to be a 15-foot stick for the property. And even if it did come in the direction, it wouldn't hit the house.
Yeah, that's great. Appreciate that. I don't believe I don't have any further comments or perspective on it. Any of the commissioners? Okay. Anyone in the public have any commentary on this modification? Okay, hearing none. Do I have a motion?
I move to make a minor modification as outlined for 141 Comerford Road, DEP file 1371535.
Second.
Okay, we'll take the vote. Nick,
Aye.
Sarah,
Aye.
Greg,
Aye.
Judy,
Aye.
and I'm a yes as well. Thanks very much.
Thank you so much for your time, commissioners. Appreciate it.
Good luck with the project.
Thank you.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
A COC for 223 Elsinore Street.
So that is all set for the commission to issue that. Project is fully stable. And the only outstanding thing, if you recall, for that one was installing some steps down to the Sudbury River. Those have been installed. They are very similar to the design that were put in at the White Ponds for the White Pond Restoration Project. So that's stable and ready for your issuance.
Great.
I'll make a motion to issue a certificate of compliance for DEP file number 137-1404 at 223 Elsinore Street.
A second. Thank you, Nick. And we'll take the vote. Judy,
Aye.
Nick,
Aye.
Greg,
Aye.
Sarah,
Aye.
and I am an aye as well. Great. And now we have, I guess, administrative approval.
So we just got this in today. I apologize for the last minute change on the agenda. Somebody was replacing some steps and one of the building inspectors drove by and noticed that this work was occurring without a building permit. It also happens to be in the outer buffer zone. Ed, do you have the address for this, just for the minute, just for the record?
Yes, 1284 Sudbury Road.
Okay, I had 1248 and I wasn't sure if that was right, so thank you. 1284 Sudbury Road. So this work is occurring right now. It is in the outer buffer zone. We don't see that there's any concern with it and would recommend that this proceed as an administrative approval.
Okay. And Delia, we don't need a vote on that, do we?
You don't. No,
Okay.
it's really more just bring it to your attention, and if there are any issues or concerns, we would not allow the homeowner to move forward until those were resolved.
Commissioners have an issue?
Looks like it might be a replacement.
Okay.
It is a replacement, I'm sorry. It is a replacement.
Okay.
It's a
Okay.
replacement in kind.
Ah, great. No worries. All right. So I think that's the formal agenda. I guess we want to circle back. Ned, you want to have a discussion about some parking?
Oh, thank you, Ed. Another neighbor has brought to my attention that I was a little obtuse on the previous application. There's a Moses Pond outlet that Delia is aware of, and that should probably be taken into account in that other application. Relative to the parking, which I asked for comments under citizens' comment at the end, there is going to be new management at the trustees of reservations, and I am pretty familiar with that the Punkatasset Hill entrance and many of the citizens around there. And I would encourage you to think as a commission about the parking issues there. The neighborhood is full of very good people with very strong opinions. And you might try and get the neighborhood together and form an approach to the trustees of reservations, who I think you will find to be much more interested in working with local communities than they might have been over the last 5 years. I had a long conversation a couple days ago with one of their senior staff people at the trustees, and to my surprise, they're she represented that their culture is to work with communities and have a lot of community input, which was new to me and a pleasant surprise. And I hope that that will be carried out in the next administration. And I look forward to hearing about how you all approach those parking issues. They've been there for years, especially in the wintertime. As I remember sledding down Punkatasset Hill when it was a ski slope. And as you may know, one of the national teams came and practiced there before one of the Olympics years and years and years ago. That's ancient history. But
Good history.
It's a wonderful property. And if you could work out a solution with the trustees and with the neighborhood, congratulations to all of you. And I do think it would be if there are safety issues being raised by the fire department and the police department and the neighborhood about fire trucks possibly going through the cars parked on both sides of Monument Street, maybe this is a time to work with Ellen Emerson and Ellie Bemis and many of the other neighbors there to pull together a proposal and to approach the trustees. Just saying. Good
Yeah,
luck. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ned, for the update. Appreciate that.
Yep.
Take care.
Bye now.
This is Jane. I
Hey,
would
Jane.
encourage the commission to consider that Ned may have just volunteered to head this up.
Thank you, Ned.
I think Jane is much more appropriate than I am.
I'm happy to
Mhm,
reach out
Greg.
to Ellie and Ellen and get that conversation started.
That'd be great, Delia. Thank you. Might as well. Strike while the iron's hot.
Yep.
Okay. Greg, you were saying something? You are on mute. Okay. Okay. Do we? Still going.
You're still on mute.
You're on mute. Greg, you're on mute. It's all
I
talked
muted
out
myself
now.
on purpose because I talk too much. No, I was just saying that I think a comprehensive solution out there is definitely going to need the select board as well. So I mean, I don't think it's water that we can carry alone, but I think we ought to be part of carrying the water without question. And it's a great idea, Ned. And the problem exists. I went by there today, and there's just no organization, and something's going to happen, and then we'll all regret it, and it
Good
won't be
point.
funny.
Yep. Well, we'll, as to Delia's point, we'll get the conversation started. Thank you. Okay, do I motion to adjourn?
So moved?
Okay. We're all good? Very good. Look forward to seeing you on the 3rd.
So you need to take a roll call vote.
Oh, you do? Okay. Motion to adjourn. We had a second. Judy?
Aye.
Sarah?
Aye.
Nick? Greg?
Aye.
And I am an I as well. We'll see you on the
Thank you
3rd.
all.
Thank you,
I
guys.
have,
Bye, everyone.
What's that?
sorry, before you go,
Yep.
I have a question for you. On, this is an informal question that I have regarding a property that's in the 50-foot no
Ah,
build.
yes. Thank you for
Oh,
reminding us.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Thank
we've closed. We got to reopen or something. How do we do that?
So this is just an informal question that I have for you. If it's,
So we won't discuss it.
yeah, maybe I can't do this if there's, yeah, we can't do this if it's closed. So what I'm going to do is just let the applicant know that
We ran out of time.
well, I'm just gonna give him what my opinion is. which I've already relayed to you.
Yeah, I think you've sent some material out just for consideration. We can look at that and then when they come before us, we will be primed for the discussion.
But if I could, I think this is something we ought to take up without having a petition in front of us, if we
Yeah.
could do that, because I think there's some interest. I see some gray area, and I have a few questions in this regard, that we may be in an untenable position defining what we're doing, and I think we ought to talk it through so that we're consistent. I think we're doing the best we can to be consistent, but structures, buildings, the gray area, and what a structure is. A
Yes,
driveway, according to this, is a structure. Therefore, if somebody has a driveway within 10 feet of can they put their house within 10 feet?
right.
So why don't I add this to the
But
next?
I don't want to talk about it in terms of
Oh,
any decision, but
yeah,
so I would rather not do it directly related to this gentleman or this couple, whoever it is. I'd rather take it in advance of that earlier in the meeting. So when we get to it, we've had some way of reconciling what I think is maybe some problems.
yes,
Mhm.
by way of structure definition.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so why don't I put this on the next agenda as topic of discussion for the 50-foot no build policy?
Yeah.
That'd be great.
Yeah.
Appreciate that.
Yeah,
Okay.
sounds like a plan.
very
Thank
good.
you, Delia.
Sorry to be a pain.
Thanks.
Thank
No,
you.
no, that's,
Good
thank you
point.
for pointing that out. That was an excellent point.
Okay.
Thanks,
Thank you all.
everyone.
Okay.
Happy
Good night.
inauguration day.
Bye.
Up, I'm leaving.